Welcome back to Leopardstown. The post-racing workouts just getting underway here. Edward O'Grady has had a few horses out on the track already. Barry Geraghty amongst the riders taking part in his little group. Catch Me, who I think is limbering up for another tilt at the Pertemps hurdle final, is amongst them. And this bunch of horses we're looking at the moment, I don't think these are Cheltenham horses necessarily. Gather from what I can hear that they're a bunch of Arthur Moore's. Maybe What a Charm, who of course is a previous Cheltenham Festival winner. That could be her in the cheek pieces there. That's only guesswork at the moment. Our Connor is out on the track at the moment. I'm not sure whether he's completed his workout or not. He went out with a couple of stable companions, so obviously we're just hostage to fortune with the pictures we're being brought here, but it would be nice if we could pick up our Connor at some stage. Ruby Walsh not taking part in Willie Mullins' group, I can tell you. Ruby's gone home, having had a couple of heavy falls today. Paul Townend obviously not involved either, though the news on Paul a little bit more encouraging. I gather just on his way out of the track he was suggesting to one of the press room guys that it might not be as bad as first feared. The injury picked up in that fall from King of the Refs in the handicap chase a little bit earlier on. Katie Walsh, who partnered Summer Star to victory for her father Ted earlier on, will be riding Quevega in her piece of work. 5 for 3, who's been off the track for a long time, is also going to work for Willie Mullins, along with Boxer George, who is a hunter chaser. I think there might be one more Mullins horse. Davy Conlon is involved in the Willie Mullins operation as well. So just to confirm, the information we have at this stage is that this group of horses here, possibly from Arthur Moore's stable, but I don't think they're Cheltenham contenders. Our Connor, the impression we have at the moment is that he's already been out and done his bit of work. Mark Enright was riding him along with 2 stable companions, and Tony Martin also has got a few working, and I think amongst them is Golan Tilla, who's such a big fancy for the champion bumper. Danny Mullins, who is of course now the retained rider for owner Barry Connell, due to ride him. Our Connor and Minsk were in the Desi Hughes group, but obviously we're not being shown that at the moment, so we can only obviously work with what we've got at present. But the Mullins horses, I'm sure we'll be able to pick them up in good time. They were a little bit later going out onto the track. And if you were watching with us not too long ago, you'll have seen Shield winning the bumper for Aidan O'Brien and Kate Harrington. That horse is entered at the Cheltenham Festival. Be very interesting to see, does he take up that engagement now? I know, just reading the paper this morning, Aidan was inclined maybe not to travel, but the tantalising possibility of son Joseph maybe having a ride in the Cheltenham Festival bumper when the temptation might be too great. Can actually just see the Mullins horses in the preliminary area for that Gallop. 5 for 3 with no jockey on board at the moment. It'll be easy enough to pick out, given that he's almost white in colour now at this stage. As I say, I think Willie's going to have 4 in total going round. He might just be short of a jockey, because Paul Townend, I'm sure, would have been involved. Ruby's not available either. Katie Walsh, as I say, has taken the leg up on Quevega. Davy Condon riding another of the Mullins contingent. So we're just waiting for the next batch of horses to go out. As you can see, plenty of activity going on in the infield there, and might be able to spot 5 for 3, the grey horse. That's Quevega in shot there now at the moment. Quevega and Katie Walsh, and 5 for 3 is just preceding her, I think, at the moment, just walking around there near where they're going to start, where they're going to jump away. And you can see that 5 for 3 is the only one of the Mullins team at the moment without a jockey. So I would think that might just be why we're waiting a bit longer. In front of Quevega there, that's Boxer George, who, as I say, is a hunter chaser. Not a bad horse. I don't know whether he's an intended runner at Cheltenham or not, but Aintree will be a big objective for him, no doubt, once again. And Quevega reported to have worked very nicely earlier on in the week. I don't think they're going to be doing anything too strenuous today. The Mullins horse is just having a bit of a blowout to continue their preparations. Five for 3, as we were saying a little bit earlier on, he's had lots and lots of problems. Former Cheltenham Festival winner, of course, but we haven't seen a great deal of him in recent seasons. He did, though, run very well in the World Hurdle last year off a similarly interrupted preparation, and he does have the option of a run in the Coral Cup. David Casey is just being legged up on 5 for 3, so David might have been taking part in that other bit of work there previously, so that's obviously, they've just been waiting for David Casey to join up with the Mullins horses. So just to confirm, Katie Walsh on Quevega, the grey horse 5 for 3, David Casey on board. I'm not sure who's on Boxer George. Davy Condon there in the on the horse with the white face. I'm not sure what that one is, but Quevega and 5 for 3 I think will be the main two for the Mullins team here. Quevega certainly keen to get on with things there. You can see she seems in really good form. She's taking a tug of Katie's arms there, just going round. Looks like she's ready to get on with things. Last time we've seen her in action, of course, was when she won the Big Stayers Hurdle at the Punchestown Festival. Looking to emulate Golden Miller, of course, by winning at the Cheltenham Festival for the 5th year running, and going to be a red hot favourite to do so as well. So it looks as though this piece of work is about to get underway. Willie Mullins on the ground, supervising proceedings as ever. Looks as though Boxer George is going to give his illustrious stable companions a bit of a lead here. Quevega jumping off behind him there, the grey 5 for 3, and just haven't got an idea on the other horse at the moment, but this is the highest profile group that we'll be seeing here. Willie Mullins See the difference in size between Quevega and some of the others there, but well, she may be diminutive in appearance. As we all know, she's got that fantastic engine, and preparations have reportedly been going very well for her return to the festival. And as I say, what would be an almost unprecedented 5th win in that David Nicholson Memorial Mares Hurdle. Probably going to cover about 10 furlongs in just this little bit of work they're doing here. It's not going to be too strenuous, I don't think. Tony Martin has got his team, I gather, almost ready to go out now as well. Amongst them, Golan Tilla and Ted Veal, who ran very well when heavily backed for the World Sports Hurdle here at Leopardstown in January. Beneficent, who I think looks like running in the Arkle at the moment. I think he's amongst the Martin team as well, and possibly Ademi, who caught a few eyes here last time. Just hearing that the Martin horses are coming up the straight at the moment, so I don't know whether we might be able to pick them up before we join the Mullins team. Mullins team just jumping off. So just to confirm once again, the Willie Mullins group here. Boxer George leading up 5 for 3. Quevega at the rear of this 4-horse group. I think the Tony Martin horses haven't actually gone out yet, so we might be able to pick them up after this. And Rock Critic, Dermot Wells' Supreme Novice Hurdle Hope, is also going out with the Martin horses. And just hearing that Jadanley, the Playestis Chase winner, also with that group, Andrew Lynch on board. So we might be able to pick them up after we see the Mullins group finishing. 5 for 3 certainly looks on good terms with himself, just pulling his way ahead of Boxer George. And Quevega just settling in at the rear of the quartet. Probably a measure of the regard that 5 for 3 is held in, that connections keep persevering with him in light of all these little problems that he's had. And handicapper has just given him a bit of a chance. I think he was put in around about the 11 stone 3 mark for the Coral Cup. Often we see with horses who've been off the track for some time, the handicapper does drop them a few pounds. So assuming all goes well here, I'd imagine he'll be heading to the festival again. He has the choice of engagements between the handicap and the World Hurdle. But as you can see, this is a very, very steady little blowout that these horses are having. They're not being asked any real questions here at all. Just main objective just to get them away for the day and maybe just take a little bit of the freshness out of them. As I say, we'll hopefully pick up that Tony Martin bunch after the Mullins horses have finished. Blackmail, Golan Tiller, the stables to Champion Bumper Hopes amongst quite a large group, and Rock Critic, the Supreme Novice Hurdle hopeful. See Quevega just coming through on the inside of her stable companions there now in the home turn. Katie, though, still got a good hold of her head. Obviously doesn't want her doing too much here with her big date. Just 9 days away now, of course. And just continue to lob away up the straight here. Quevega just leading them up the straight in what's been a gentle little breeze that they've enjoyed. And that will be pretty much that as far as the Mullins horses are concerned. I think that's it. Willie often in the past has schooled a few of his Cheltenham hopefuls over fences at this meeting, but I don't think that's on the agenda for today. Quevega just coming home in front in that 4-horse group, and on to the Cheltenham Festival, where her huge band of followers will be out in force once again. Now here's this other group we've been telling you about. This is Beneficent leading up under Brian Cooper, the Arkle Chase hopeful. Blue cap on the inside, that's Golden Tilla, the big champion bumper hope. Danny Mullins in the plate, of course, unraced since joining Tony Martin. And Barry Geraghty on the near side in the red cap, I think, is Ted Veal. So Beneficent leading that group home. I think Barry's on Ted Veal there, going by in second. Golden Tilla, we hear, was the 4th one past. Blackmail was bringing up the rear in that group of 5. There's still a few horses to go out here. Obviously a bit of a merry-go-round with the jockeys here. Quite a few of them will be involved in more than one piece of work. So we might just have a little bit more to bring you, though. I think that's possibly the height of it here at Leopardstown. There's obviously a few more to go out. Nina Carberry has been involved as well. Willie Mullins there, just about to get the debrief from his jockeys. We can just quickly go back to the guys in the studio, Martin and Mick, and obviously nothing too strenuous there, man, but it looks as though David Casey seems happy enough with 5 for 3. Davy Condon coming back to report. I think Declan Lavery rode the other horse, the Hunter Chaser. That's him, the tall lad there at the back. Declan, who's not long back from injury. And obviously Willie will be probably keenest to hear from Katie Walsh, and here she comes for the debrief, guys.
Sterling work there, Gary. And there is Willie with his troops assembled, and Katie, who rode Quevega in that piece of... Well, it wasn't even a piece of work, was it, Mick? It was just a very gentle cant around.
But that's what makes him such a good trainer. He knew he needed to bring these horses here, just get the blood coursing through their veins, and that's almost like 2 pieces of work. And, you know, he's done a pretty good job on Quevega in the past, winning 4 times at the Cheltenham Festival. She'll make history if she's able to do it on 5. And looking at her there, she looks an absolute picture. And, you know, when you see Willie getting a debriefing from his jockeys, all he wants to know, how did it feel? Did it handle the ground okay? And are you happy? And he's hoping that all the answers end in yes. And then it's all systems go. And
you were saying before, I'm just looking at Quevega before she went out, she looked really well.
She did look really well. She looks big and well. You know, she carries a little bit of condition, but that's the way she's looked in her trips to Cheltenham before. So I wouldn't be concerned. She's shown her well-being. There'll be an awful lot of pictures of her in the papers tomorrow, and they'll be hoping there's pictures of her on the front of the Racing Post after she's won the Mayor's Hurdle for a 5th time. Now, looking at this, I'd be fairly impressed with Beneficent here. He's striding along, and if Gary is right, and that is Golden Tilla in the light blue cap, you'd be a little bit worried because he's under pressure there. But Barry Geraghty's horse is enjoying himself, and so is Brian Cooper. So they're two horses that shown plenty.
So that would, if you were a fan of Golden Tiller or a supporter, that would be a negative.
Well, I can't say that I'd be bucking and squealing after watching a bit of work. Maybe he's just a very lazy workhorse.
Yeah,
you've got to hope so on that, especially. But it's amazing. Willie Mullins, he's an unbelievable brain, because all those horses circling around him, he's got to work out what he wants them to do, and sometimes he'll change things right at the last minute, because as you've heard, there's no Ruby Walsh, no Paul Townend, so they're two very integral parts of his team who would have been riding in this work, so he's got to change things. But he hasn't been champion trainer out of last year because he's not able to think on his feet. And let's not forget, he's a record-breaking trainer now as well. He broke that record of 155 wins for a trainer in a season, which has stood for some time. A record, of course, set by the very own Aidan O'Brien, who's going to have a runner in the festival this year in the bumper Shields, which we hear might be ridden by Joseph O'Brien.
Yeah, he was saying coming into today that he didn't think he would go, but given the horse has gone and won today, he said Shield will run at Cheltenham, Joseph will ride, and his first runner since Isterbrack pulled up there back in 2002, so first runner for 11 years.
Joseph will enjoy that, you know, because it'll be a different experience for him riding at Cheltenham. There's a real buzz about the place as well, and he'll get a kick out of it. Not all I wish is that our very own Jason Weaver could have ridden in the Cheltenham Festival bumper, because Kevin Manning, who's ridden a lot of winners, Derby winner of course with New Approach, he says that the Cheltenham bumper is by far and away the roughest race he's ever ridden in. And Michael Hill's rode in it once and he said never again. He said all those lunatic jump jockeys with no obstacles, he'll think they're loose.
And just to say, if you are waiting for Jason Weaver and Stateside, it is coming. We're just trying to soak up any clues we can here from Leopardstown. And some real important people. Look, there's Marcus Town into the Daily Mail over the far side, striding around there. So many of the famous faces. And there is Willie.
He's Evening Herald man from
Damien McElroy as well. Used to be the correspondent for the Irish Independent. Kevin O'Ryan is out on track, and we could join Kevin, and he's chatting to Willie Mullins. And apologies, we're trying with the wonders of technology to try and join Willie there, but the audio not coming through from the track. But talking there to Kevin O'Ryan and to Damian McElroy, who was for many, many years the racing correspondent for the Irish Independent. He retired, about 2 years ago now? But now we can join Willie.
She really seemed to enjoy herself, and you know that'll bring her on again.
She did. She took a nice little bite with Katie, and as long as she comes out of that well, which I've no doubt she will, and then she'll do a couple of bits of work during the week, and that should see her right, I hope.
And 543, great to see him back, Willie.
Yes, he got fairly jizzed up on the parade ring before that and coming out onto the racetrack, so he badly needed a day like that, and he'll get another good hard day's work, I think, before we get away to Cheltenham as well this week.
Where would you be planning on running him in Cheltenham?
He's in the World Hurdle, he's in the Coral Cup. I think he might have a nice weight in the Coral Cup, so we'll certainly look at that.
And before I let you go, Hurricane Fly, great order for less than a week's time, little over a week's time.
I think so. He did a nice piece of work again yesterday. Paul Townend rides him all his work. He was very pleased with him. So we just keep fingers crossed now and hope to get there in one piece.
And I'm not going to ask you about any of the rest of the team because we'll be here till tomorrow.
Yeah, well, so far so good. I mean, Clondalk Court is the only casualty we have at the moment. I'm sure maybe one or two will drop during the week as the work gets hard. But we hope to get most of them there, and they appear in good form.
And Pont Alexander, he looks a real exciting horse.
Yes, really looking forward to him. But whatever he does this year, he has the build and the potential for him as a chaser is something that we're all looking forward to, I think.
Okay, Willie, thanks for having a quick word with us, and great to see Quevega back here.
Thanks very much, Kevin. Bye-bye.
So Willie Mullins there, thrilled with the way everything's gone. Quevega with a couple of bits to do, and she'll be off to Cheltenham again as well. And what an opening day that could be for Willie. He's got a strong hand in the Supreme, he's got Hurricane Fly, he's got Quevega. It could be a spectacular start to the festival for him.
Well, it will be, but I think, as well, the roar that meets the crowd, and it's the only time that you ever really are aware of noise. at Cheltenham is that first race, because that wave of sound meets you as you race to the first hurdle on the track. It is, you know, it's the Olympics, but luckily for us in racing, it happens every single year.
And for a jockey as well, if you're coming out as part of the pack in the Supreme, how loud is that for you guys, given you're a fair way from the grandstands?
It's amazing. It does actually hit you, that sound, and it is, you know, it is fantastic because there's so much anticipation. Everybody's fancies something different, and the whole year is based around whether you have a good Cheltenham festival or not. It doesn't matter how well you've done the rest of the season. For those 4 days, you are under the microscope and you must deliver.
Got some more horses out on the track here. Gary is hopefully just having a little bit of investigation to see who is out on the track, but we've got a field of 6 there over on the far side currently. Just passing the regulation fence over on the far side of the track. Let's rejoin Gary and see if we can shed any light on who's out on the track at the moment.
Yes, I don't think, well, from what I'm hearing at least, guys, that these are Cheltenham horses. Peter Fahey, who's likely to have 2 runners at the festival in Shop DJ in the Mayor's Hurdle, in which he ran very well last year, and Quevega Star, who's been for the Curl Cup. I think these are a bunch of Peter's horses, but from what I can gather, they're not Cheltenham hopefuls. I don't think that either Shop DJ or Quevega Star are amongst them, so chances are, as you suspected, that we've probably seen what we're going to see in terms of Cheltenham contenders, and to be fair, no great insight, nothing that we didn't really already know. Looks like the saddle's actually gone forward on one of those horses there, the horse going around in 3rd spot, but Quevega and 5 for 3, the 2 high profile horses we saw. Unfortunately, we didn't see our Connor. From what I can gather, he went round well with his 2 stable companions, but he was coming up by the winning post, I think, when the Mullins team were starting off, and those were just the pictures we had at the time. But Peter Fahey is certainly a trainer who's really making a name for himself. He used to be with Jessica Harrington, got a nice winner on the all-weather at Dundalk the other day, and those 2 horses, he's not the type of guy who would have a runner at Cheltenham just for the sake of it. Those 2 horses he is bringing, Quevega Star, who won a Grade 2 at Navan earlier on in the season, and Shop DJ, who I suppose has been the real flag bearer for the yard so far. They certainly won't disgrace themselves in their chosen races. Peter's brother-in-law, Andrew Lee, who I think is involved in this group, will most likely ride Quevega Star. So, as I say, I think that's probably it as far as the post-racing session here at Leopardstown is concerned. Probably didn't learn anything that we didn't already know, and unless I suppose Golan Tilla, as the lads were saying, you wouldn't have been particularly chuffed with the way he worked in that group of Tony Martin horses, but perhaps he just needed that to blow away the cobwebs. We'll just have to wait and see, and maybe hear from hear reaction from Connections. But from all the team here at Leopardstown, thanks very much indeed for being with us today, and it's back to the guys in the studio.